Hi, folks. I'm Merle Herman, your sportscaster for today's telecast of the Kansas City Athletics. Game time is 10 minutes away, and between now and then, you folks watching in on WDAF-TV will have an opportunity for an inside look on baseball. Your host is my good friend, Bob Wolff, and it's brought to you by New Wheaties, Breakfast of Champions. Bob's guest today is one of the fine left-handers in the American League, strikeout artist Billy Pierce of the Chicago White Sox. Our session will get underway after this word from Wheaties.
Hi, everybody. You're viewing Billy Pierce, one of the top pitchers in baseball. For the past couple of years, Billy has hit that 20-game win mark. And the way he keeps going year after year, I know he's a lot of other big seasons ahead. Billy, there are many things that go into making a successful pitcher. In your mind, what would you say is the foremost one?
Well, Bob, to me, the most important thing for pitching is control. You have to throw the ball over the plate and in certain times get it where you want it.
I see. Why is this such a difficult art for pitchers to master?
Well, for one thing, you're standing 60 feet 6 inches from home plate, and you're throwing the ball with all that possibly you can get behind it. You're throwing it hard, and you're throwing it in a spot that is 17 inches wide by about 2 feet tall, and it can be hard at times.
I see. Billy, when you're not pitching, you're on the sidelines. I see you always intently watching the ball game. I guess you're always looking for weaknesses in the opposing batters, aren't you?
That's right, Bob. All hitters have a slight weakness some way or other, and if I can spot it when I'm watching the other fellas pitching to them, it'll help me that much more when I'm pitching.
Now, of course, you're a lefty. Suppose there's a right-hander out pitching. Can you still detect the weaknesses?
Well, certain type of weaknesses. Of course, I can't detect if a right-hander is making a right-handed hitter fall away. That doesn't help me any, but I can tell if he's missing a curveball a long ways, he'll naturally do the same thing left-handed, and if he's hitting a high ball, he'll hit that high off a left-handed pitcher, and I can find out, try to pitch him low or something like that. So you can learn an awful lot by sitting on the sidelines just watching the ball game.
You say that every batter has a weakness. Does this include the so-called greats of baseball, too?
Yes, I would say so. No matter how good a batter is, there are certain pitches that he cannot hit as well. I mean, he may hit them once in a while, but not as well, and naturally, the lower the average the hitter is, the more weaknesses he has.
Well, if the word gets around about what a certain batter's weakness is, doesn't he get used to seeing this particular pitch time after time?
That's true, Bob, and there are some hitters in this league that over a period of 2 or 3 years have changed their hitting styles to a certain extent. But I would say the percentage of them are the same because actually most pitchers cannot put the ball in the same place where they want it every time, and will get the ball out of that space, and a batter will get a hit, and his average won't go down so low that it'll leave the league.
Is there any pattern, Billy, to what a weakness may be? In other words, do you find that most right-handers, power hitters of a certain weakness, or most left-handers can't go for a certain pitch well?
Well, of course, the greatest pitches in baseball, we'll say a right-hand hitter is hitting, is low outside or high inside. That's the best, where they're the weakest. And if a left-hander's hitting, it's the same thing, low outside, high inside.
Now, when you actually study these hitters, you try to spot these weaknesses. Now, when you get in a ball game, do you start off pitching to their weakness right away, sort of start the pattern so that they will be swinging at that pitch you want them to swing at?
Well, you'll try to, but if you get them out, we'll say the first time that way, and the second time they'll come up to bat, we'll say nobody's on base or anything like that. You'll try to get them out another way if you can, because they may come up, say, the third or fourth time with key men on base when you want to use that pitch.
I see.
And if you've used it 2 or 3 times before, they'll be definitely looking for it that time. So you have to sometimes set them up a little bit.
In other words, this is pretty mental out there, this duel, huh?
Well, it isn't just a game of throwing, that's for sure.
Well, speaking about throwing, they tell me that you fire just about as hard as anybody, which is unusual because you are of rather slight build compared to some pitchers. I want to ask you how you get all this steam behind every pitch you throw up. But first, here's something else I'd like you folks to see. Billy Pierce, let me ask you, is speed something that you are born with as far as having that good arm, or is it something you can acquire along the way?
Well, Bob, I would say hard throwing or speed is something actually you're born with, but it isn't actually your arm that does it, it's coordination. You will see in this league a lot of fellows, whether they're hitters, pitchers, or just good runners, that the size doesn't mean too much difference. It's how they coordinate their body and get everything together at the exact moment when they're releasing the ball or when they're hitting the ball. Coordination is the most essential thing as far as throwing a ball hard.
Well, how can one develop this coordination?
Well, I believe just a young boy when he playing sports of all kinds will just naturally develop it. It's something it's pretty hard to develop through practice. It's just something that comes naturally.
When big league scouts look at ball players, and when you look at young players coming in the league, do you look actually for the grace of their pitching, that is the body rhythm, or do you actually see whether they can fire that ball regardless?
Well, it's a combination of two things. If a fella is very, very awkward, he is going to have a tough time. He's going to come up with a sore arm or something like that. Then we'll go from pitcher standpoint. But if a fella is, say, just a little bit stiff, if he has can throw very hard, a fastball, that's the main essential thing. A curveball you develop through time. But if he has a real good fastball, you can just picture more or less in your mind, give him a few years of experience of throwing, say, 100, 200 innings a year, and he will develop a little more rhythm that will make his fastball smoother, quicker, and better control on it.
You brought up another good point there, Billy. You mentioned the sore arm. I assume that a man who has good rhythm, good use of his shoulders and body, has less chance of getting that sore arm than a fellow who's strictly an arm pitcher, huh?
Very much so. And there's one other big point, too. A fellow that uses his arm mainly and doesn't get his body behind the ball will tire out. He will pitch 5 innings, maybe 6 innings, and his arm will get tired. Whereas if he's using his whole body, the arm gets less wear and tear on it, and it makes it much easier to pitch.
Now, how about those curveballs? Do you find that puts a burden on your pitching arm to throw a lot of those breaking pitches?
Well, after you've been, say, pitched for a few years, actually probably a curveball is just as easy or easier than anything else because you actually aren't getting quite as much force behind the pitch. But say a young boy, say a real young boy in these little leagues and things like that, I believe a curveball is a very bad pitch and will hurt his arm.
Billy Pierce, my thanks to you. Very fine guest.
Thank you very much, Bob. Enjoyed it.
And folks, here's something else I'd like you to see.
This is Merle Harmon speaking for our good friends at General Mills, makers of New Wheaties Breakfast of Champions. Be sure to join us before our next televised game for Dugout Chatter. You'll be meeting some of the outstanding stars in the American League. They'll tell you how they play their positions, the various inside phases on each position. Be sure to watch. Now I'll be back in 1 minute with today's game.